This agricultural waste creates perfect lightweight soil that makes plants explode with growth. Fellow gardeners, let's talk about one of the most frustrating challenges we face in urban gardening, that backbreaking moment when you try to move a watered container and realize you've created a concrete block instead of a planter. If you've ever struggled with heavy, waterlogged soil that makes your terrace gardening feel like a gym workout, this revolutionary rice husk method will completely transform your growing experience. Urban gardening should be a joy, not a chore that leaves you dreading the next watering session. What I'm about to share with you isn't just another soil recipe, it's a game-changing approach that turns agricultural waste into gardening gold while solving multiple problems simultaneously. Why traditional soil fails urban gardeners. Before diving into the solution, let's understand why conventional garden soil becomes such a burden for container gardeners. When you purchase regular garden soil from nurseries, you're essentially buying dense, clay-heavy mixtures that become incredibly compact when watered. This creates several cascading problems that make urban gardening unnecessarily difficult. The weight issue isn't just about convenience. It affects your entire gardening strategy. Heavy containers can't be repositioned easily to chase sunlight or protect plants from harsh weather. They stress balconies and terrace structures, and frankly, they make gardening feel like manual labor rather than the therapeutic hobby it should be. More importantly, dense soil creates poor drainage and inadequate aeration around root zones. Plants struggle in these conditions, leading to root rot, stunted growth, and, frequent plant failures that discourage even the most enthusiastic gardeners. The rice husk revolution is really something. Rice husk, the protective outer layer removed during rice processing, represents one of nature's most perfectly designed growing mediums. From a nutritional standpoint, rice husk contains an impressive array of essential plant nutrients in naturally balanced proportions. Silicon, which comprises the largest percentage, strengthens plant cell walls and improves disease resistance. Calcium and magnesium support healthy root development and chlorophyll production, while phosphorus and potassium drive flowering and fruiting processes. The presence of trace elements like zinc, copper, and molybdenum ensures your plants receive comprehensive nutrition as the husk gradually decomposes. The physical properties of rice husk are equally remarkable. Its fibrous structure creates countless air pockets within the soil mix, dramatically improving drainage while maintaining optimal moisture retention. This seemingly contradictory behavior, draining excess water while holding necessary moisture, makes rice husk an ideal growing medium component. Creating the ideal lightweight soil mix requires precise proportions and proper technique. The magic ratio is exactly 50% quality garden soil mixed with 50% rice husk, but the preparation method determines your success. Begin with approximately 10 liters of garden soil for every 10 liters of rice husk you plan to use. If your garden soil appears dry, lightly mist it until it reaches the consistency of a wrung-out sponge, damp but not dripping. Combine both materials in a large mixing container or tarp, working them together thoroughly until the mixture appears uniform throughout. The mixing process requires patience and attention to detail. Use your hands or a garden fork to ensure every portion of soil contacts the rice husk. You should see an even distribution where neither component dominates visually. This thorough integration ensures consistent drainage and nutrient availability throughout your containers. Proper container setup forms the foundation of this method's success. Every container must have adequate drainage holes. This is non-negotiable. For containers lacking sufficient drainage, drill additional holes approximately every 4 inches around the bottom perimeter. So, the layering technique actually starts with creating a 2-inch foundation layer of dry leaves at the bottom of your container. This leaf layer, well, it serves a bunch of important functions. It stops fine particles from washing through the drainage holes, adds extra organic matter as it breaks down, and also creates more airspace, which really helps with root aeration. Now, you'll want to pick leaves that break down a bit more slowly. Oak, maple or any other hardwood leaves are just great for this. Just make sure to avoid leaves from plants that were diseased or treated with chemicals. Once your leaf layer is set, go ahead and fill the containers with your soil and rice husk mixture, leaving about 2 inches of space from the top. To settle the mixture, just lift and drop the container a few times. Don't press or tamp it down, as you want to keep the soil nice and loose. The decomposition accelerator formula. To really get the most out of your rice husk soil mix, you'll want to prepare a decomposition accelerator using natural Jaggery. This traditional sweetener is fantastic because it provides readily available carbohydrates which beneficial soil microorganisms just love. They use it to multiply rapidly and break down organic matter more efficiently. It's quite the process. Now let's create the accelerator solution. You'll need to dissolve 100 grams of Jaggery in 5 liters of clean water. Make sure to stir thoroughly until it's completely dissolved. This might take a few minutes, depending on the texture of your Jaggery. Once done, the solution should appear amber-colored and slightly syrupy. It's a beautiful sight, really. Alright, time to apply this Jaggery solution to your prepared containers. Do it immediately after filling, using about 500 milliliters per standard 20-liter container. The solution should penetrate throughout the soil mixture without creating any puddles on the surface. And here's the key part. Repeat this application 2 more times at 3-week intervals during the 8-week decomposition period. It's a crucial step to ensure everything breaks down just right. So, this Jaggery treatment, it really accelerates beneficial microbial activity, speeds up the breakdown of organic matter, and, creates just the ideal soil ecosystem for healthy plant growth. The carbohydrates in Jaggery feed beneficial bacteria and fungi, while at the same time suppressing harmful organisms through competitive exclusion. The 2-month transformation period is, honestly, where patience pays off. Patience during the decomposition phase is what separates successful gardeners from the frustrated ones. Your prepared containers need exactly 8 weeks of undisturbed decomposition before they're ready for planting. During these 8 weeks, make sure to store your containers in a shaded location that gets indirect light but stays protected from direct rainfall. It's important to maintain consistent moisture levels by checking weekly and adding water if the mixture feels dry below the surface. The ideal moisture level should resemble that of a wrung-out sponge, damp throughout but never waterlogged. Temperature stability during decomposition significantly impacts the final soil quality. Extreme temperature fluctuations, slow microbial activity, and delay the breakdown process. If possible, try to maintain temperatures between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal results. The most common failure point in using rice husk involves whole rice grains mixed within the husk material. These intact grains, when they encounter soil moisture, can create anaerobic fermentation conditions that produce harmful fungi and, honestly, some pretty unpleasant odors. When purchasing rice husk, it's important to inspect it carefully for whole grain contamination. Quality suppliers usually screen their husk to remove intact grains, but some contamination often remains. If you notice significant grain content in your rice husk, you might want to consider the pre-soaking treatment method. For those times when you need to plant right away and waiting 8 weeks just isn't possible, go ahead and soak your rice husk in clean water for 48 hours, making sure to stir it twice daily. This pre-soaking step really helps kickstart fermentation in a controlled environment, which, prevents problems later on in your soil mix. After soaking, just spread the husk out on a tarp and let it dry completely before you use it. When you're working with pre-soaked rice husk, it's important to reduce the ratio to 90% garden soil and only 10% rice husk. After the 8-week decomposition period, your transformed soil mix will need some final amendments before you start planting. The decomposed rice husk should have darkened quite a bit and developed a rich, earthy aroma, which honestly is a great sign of successful microbial processing. Enhance your prepared mix with beneficial amendments at the following rates per 20 liters of soil. 200 grams of well-aged compost, and 50 grams of neem cake for natural pest protection. And 100 grams of completely decomposed cow manure for additional nutritional support. Consider adding beneficial microorganisms through commercial mycorrhizal inoculants or trichoderma-based products. These beneficial fungi create symbiotic relationships with plant roots, dramatically improving nutrient uptake and disease resistance. So, the final soil mix should feel light and fluffy when you squeeze it, and it should spring back when compressed. It also needs to maintain its structure without turning muddy when watered. This kind of texture, honestly, shows that you've got proper decomposition and, well, just about the ideal growing conditions for pretty much any container plant. Maximizing long-term soil health is really important. Your rice husk soil mix with the right kind of management just keeps getting better and better over time. As the remaining organic matter breaks down slowly, it releases nutrients bit by bit and keeps the soil structure going strong for several growing seasons. Each year, go ahead and refresh your containers by removing the top 2 inches of old soil and swapping it out with fresh compost mixed with a little more rice husk. This top-dressing approach maintains nutritional levels while extending the useful life of your growing medium indefinitely. It's a good idea to monitor soil pH regularly, since, decomposing organic matter can gradually lower pH levels. Most vegetables and flowers, really prefer slightly acidic to neutral conditions. That's around pH 6 to 7. If your soil happens to become too acidic, just incorporate small amounts of agricultural lime or wood ash to restore the proper pH balance. The lightweight nature of this soil mix actually makes seasonal plant rotation effortless. You can easily move containers to optimize sun exposure, protect plants from harsh weather, or, honestly, just rearrange your garden design as your preferences evolve. This rice husk method, well, it represents more than just a soil recipe. It's a sustainable approach that transforms waste into wealth while making urban gardening more accessible and enjoyable. Your plants will thrive in this perfectly balanced growing medium, and you'll probably wonder why you ever struggled with heavy, lifeless soil. So, are you ready to revolutionize your container gardening experience? Give this method a try and hey, share your results in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Soil and Crop Central for more game-changing gardening techniques, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who are tired of battling heavy soil. You're back, and your plants will thank you for making this simple but powerful change.